Hello and welcome. This is Rooflemonger, and this is my tips and tricks guide for Broly for Dragon Ball FighterZ Season 3 specifically. So just a heads up here. There's a very real chance this is going to be the longest one of these I've ever done. So if you want to skip ahead, there's going to be timestamps in the video description and in the top pinned comment, as I'm going to be covering everything basically. So if you want the beginner stuff, hey, keep along for the ride. If you want some more advanced stuff, hey, skip ahead. And yeah, so we're just going to go with that in mind, and let's start at the start here, and let's go over his basic move set. So let's talk about Broly's special moves. First up here, before we cover them real quick, pretty much everything except for the powered shell has armor. So just keep that in mind, and the powered shell, the barrier, has its own defensive property as well. And first up here is the Lariat Express. So Broly just flings himself at you. This is quarter circle forward, light, medium, or heavy. Light goes a short distance forward. The medium goes a good chunk, about a little past half screen. And the EX version is the fastest of all and does go completely full screen. So the medium and the EX versions will knock you up against a wall. The light version is just kind of a check, like it's a hit. And this is an important tool for Broly, both as combo enders after a Dragon Rush. It's good in neutral, especially the medium and EX versions, as not only does this move have armor, it has multiple hits of armor, so it can go through just about anything. The EX version is faster, that kind of stuff here. New to Season 3, you can get your delay level 3 after the medium, which is really good. And all in all, it's just a really strong tool that you will be seeing a lot of. The more degenerate though you want to be, the more you're going to be tossing them out in neutral. But the more degenerate you get with it, the a lot easier it is to call out. People can just neutral jump over and homing dash in. So don't get too predictable with it. Next up here is the Gigantic Claw. So that's otherwise known as this command grab. So once again, comes in light, medium, heavy versions. Quarter circle back, light, medium, heavy. The light one is the breadwinner, just so you know, even though I know the light version doesn't seem as sexy because it's the fastest of all of them. The medium version is a bit slower, and it can give a combo opportunity, specifically if you're in the corner or if you have an assist mid-screen. And the EX version, well, hey, that works anywhere on the screen, and you can combo anywhere on the screen as well. So command grabs are a big deal with Broly. He is the definitive grappler of this game. I think that's very fair to say. A lot of that is built on the back of the light grab, because simply put, it's not reactable. By the time you could even process this happening, you were already grabbed. That is just the way it is, right? Plus, he has a lot of setups and work with the block strings, which will have his own section later in the video. But Broly, if you want to compare it to Street Fighter, is the Zangief of the game. And of course, he's a lot of other things too, because he's also basically the best zoner and all that. But we'll get to that later. Next up is the Gigantic Strike. So this is his aerial grab. So, as it states, hey, aerial only. So if you tread on the ground, well, hey, you get the regular grab instead, because it is the quarter circle back, light, medium, heavy option. And generally speaking, the heavier the button, the more range and speed you're going to have to work with here. The EX version comes out the quickest and by quite a bit, does the most damage as well. Also has a little bit of a combo opportunity, as you can bounce people, and you can follow up that bounce and combo out, and check the companion combo guide, which is linked at the end of this video for that kind of stuff, because you'll see it there. But yeah, air grab, big deal. Armored, of course, owns the skies. If you are anywhere in front or above Broly in the air, you must watch out, because it's always a threat on the table. It's a very big deal. Now, speaking of big deals, hey, the eraser blow. So quarter circle forward and your key blast button. So this is Broly's kind of standard projectile. It does clash with other projectiles, just so you know. It has, well, I guess you can quote as beam strength, as it'll clash evenly with normal beams, and of course overpower key blasts, all the kind of stuff. So, once again, it's armored. So, you can hit Broly, something will bounce off, and speaking of which, basic key blasts also bounce off this move here. So, not only does the armor come in on regular hits, if you're just tossing key blasts, they just harmlessly bounce off Broly, not a big deal, and the move comes through. It has a lot of applications, combo-wise, gimmick-wise, of course, just pure neutral, because, hey, it's hard to stop him from doing it, and you can do it over and over and over. And once the actual shot comes out, he recovers fairly quickly. A lot of the lag time is in the start of the move compared to some of the other characters. So if you are only reacting to it once it's already mid-screen, then he can easily down heavy you if you try to jump and homing dash over it or all that kind of stuff, right? It is one of the better projectiles in the game, which, of course, that's kind of a thing for Broly, on top of being the best grappler, right? Because, hey, life's not fair, and neither is Broly, right? That's just how it is. And our final base special move is the Powered Shell. So the Powered Shell, as you can see here, it basically means you don't got to take no guff from nothing. So while the shell is up, projectiles simply don't interact with you. You walk through them cleared. It's not even like an armor state where you slow down for a second. You just don't act like they're there. It is a non-factor. You can even like run through them, all that kind of stuff. It is a completely defensive wall against any kind of zoning from any kind of projectile, be they basic key blasts, full-on beams, or whatever, right? Now, it doesn't work against super, so keep that in mind. Don't think you're completely invulnerable, but still, it's a kind of big deal. Now, for Broly's super moves, he only has one level 1 and one level 3, but thankfully, we get 2 flavors each, right? So here's his basic level 1. It does have a strike forward, and while he strikes, and the enemy will just be floating during this whole time. So if you want to combo into like a Spirit Bomb with base Goku or whatever, since he's floating for so long, very easy to do, very easy to work with. The alternative version here is just a straight shot. So what the difference basically is this. So say we get a grab mid-screen. Awesome. That's kind of what we're fishing for a lot of time anyways, right? And we get that grab. The regular level 1, no dice. It doesn't combo, doesn't connect, they get time to wake up, block, all that kind of stuff. The alternate, since it just does the shot without the pop-up, that is a true combo. That works. So that's one of the situations where, for whatever reason, you're simply too far away to get the normal level 1. The alternate level 1, which does do less damage overall, will always work. So, all things being equal, you want the normal base level 1, absolutely, just because it does more damage. But in situations where it won't work because it is a close range super, the alternate will suffice in its place. Now, the level 3, one of the biggest deals about Broly is the level 3. The base level 3, it's a level 3. Nothing much more to say than that. Seems to do a little bit less damage in Season 3 overall, but whatever. It's not a big deal. So, it hits. Now, here's the thing. The alternate is the delay level 3. And this is one of the big deals for Broly here. So, the delay level 3 only explodes when it contacts with the enemy, right? And this makes so much combo routes and all this kind of stuff just possible. We'll cover it later in the video. It's in the timestamps, all that kind of stuff. But it's a very big deal. So yeah, only one level 1, only one level 3. But with 2 flavors on each side, makes them a lot more useful. Alright, so now let's talk one of the biggest deals with Broly, if not potentially the single biggest deal, and that is Super Armor. And what exactly is Super Armor? Well, basically it's the ability to tank a hit, not have your move get smacked out, like you're not getting beat out of your own move, and the move will complete. So you're allowed to just tough your way through the hit you're taking and have your move still complete, right? There are other characters with Super Armor in this game, yes, absolutely, but Broly has by far and away the most. Like, Broly has more armor in this game than every other character combined many times over. So basically, that's not to say what moves have armor, because it's easier to say which moves do not have armor. So moves that do not have armor are light attacks, anything with the auto combo, and this includes like jumping light attacks, crouching light attacks, all that kind of stuff, and his basic key blasts. And that's basically it. Anything that's a medium or heavy, this includes jumps, this includes crouches, all of his specials except for the barrier, they all have super armor. And some of them, like say Larry Express, have a lot of hits of super armor. So even hit him multiple times, he's still going to plow through and just get you. So if you go into your settings here, and if you want to look at the frame data, right? So here's the differential. So not all armor starts on the same frame of animation. So if I hit someone stand medium, okay, it takes 11 frames, right? If I hit someone with a Racer Blow, point blank, it's 20 frames. Like, these are an integral part of understanding fighting game stuff, knowing your frames, right? So the startup frames for normals are different from the startup frames from special moves. All armor moves for normals, this is regular buttons, non-special moves. Doesn't matter if they're in the air, crouching, ground, whatever. They all start up on frame number 9. So for a move like, say, stand medium, 2 frames before it hits, that's when the armor starts up, right? So this is true for every single normal he has. They all start up on frame number 9. Now, the duration is different move to move. Like, say, Broly stand heavy, if you hold it, the armor lasts longer, like as long as you hold it. That's the duration of the armor, right? But every normal starts on frame number 9. Now, special moves start up a lot earlier. They start up on frame number 4. So, say if I just did my basic leg command grab, right? So I know very early on into the move, I'm armored and safe. So I can tank a hit and then still grab the enemy on the other end. That's a pretty big deal, right? So frame number 4 is when every special move has its armor. So knowing the difference here, if you need armor very fast, it's better to go for like a special like an eraser blow or something, or a grab. And you can know that, say, if you're just going for like instant air dash heavy, you know, pretty early on into the attack, you're armored, right? So if they try to meet you in the air, or if they did anything else, well then, hey, it's not really going to work in their favor. You're just going to armor right through it. Armor is a very big deal, and you should know when to use and abuse that armor for Broly. Now, keep in mind, any jumping move that has armor, which once again is pretty much everything but jump light and jump key blast, armor will stop attacks, but it won't stop a down heavy. Even if it hits on an armored frame, down heavy just bricks armor. Like, it's just so Broly doesn't have guaranteed air offense that cannot be stopped, right? So down heavies will still beat armored aerial moves, even on the frames they normally should have armor. So just a heads up on that. So here's a big note about Broly, and is one of the, I guess, penalties against Broly is the scaling. So normally, hey, jump attacks, lights, if you manage to start a combo with an overheader or a vanish or whatever, you know, these things scale your combos, right? But I'm sure if you've seen any amount of combo videos, you start that combo with like down medium, stand medium, or whatever, you're going to get tons of damage, or raw heavy or whatever. And for Broly, it doesn't work this way. Everything Broly does causes advanced scalings. Even raw mediums, even a raw heavy, it doesn't matter. They all cause advanced scaling except for one move. That move is the second hit of his auto combo. This guy right here. So if you do any given combo and you start it with this guy instead, you're just going to do more damage overall because you have not scaled the start. So just a quick example here of a very basic combo. Alright, so super basic, 3,607. Now let's do the exact same combo, but we're going to do with the whiff second hit of the auto combo. Hey, that's more damage. That was less hits too. Like, we didn't even have the starting jump in, right? And that did more damage overall. So don't fish for it, because if you're just fishing specifically to get the second hit, you're going to get yourself killed more than likely. But just know basically everything scales except for that. And if you do somehow manage to start with this move, keep in mind the combo you're about to do is going to do way more damage than usual, especially like more advanced corner combos and stuff. So take a gander where the enemy's health is at, because this might be the exact right moment you need to dump all your bar. Because anything that starts with this is going to do a lot more damage. Keep in mind, if you ever watch any combo videos, any combo starts with this is not the, well, I guess in a way it's the optimal starter, yeah, but it's not a realistic starter. Most of the time you're going to be starting your combos like instant air heavy or stand jab or crouch jab. So yeah. His damage mid-screen, conversely, because of all the scaling, is kind of on the lower end. Broly is a big fan of having assists to help him out. In the corner, things get a lot better, and of course he has really good corner pressure, which is a whole section by itself. But yeah, just keep in mind, Broly, for the most part, the combo structure and how scaling works doesn't work the same for him. So now, with the dawn of Season 3, hey, everyone's got multiple assists, right? So let's talk about it. So Broly, just like everyone else, has 3 assists to choose from. First, let's just talk about the basic eraser blow. This guy is the workhorse. It's really good in neutral. It's really good for combo structure. Pound for pound is, I'm just going to tell you right now, it's my favorite of the 3 assists still, right? One thing to note as well, it keeps the property of bouncing off basic key blast. So if you're getting spammed by basic key blast here, you call Broly, and they will, well, one, of course, the eraser blow will, beat out the basic key blast, but they will bounce harmlessly off him as he is tossing the eraser blow. So it is a good counter zoning tool as well if you're getting spammed with basic key blasts. So once again, complete workhorse. Overall, my favorite, but let's go over the other 2, just so you know. The second one here is basically like Super Saiyan Vegeta's assist here. This is machine gun shot. So he'll pop up at an angle. It's not quite as high up as Super Saiyan Vegeta, and that kind of inherently lowers its usefulness. He will appear behind you, though, if you are beside the enemy. So there's no chance of the enemy like straight jabbing him out. That's really handy. And it works a lot in the same regard here. So it does your key blast, and of course, hey, if you get the hit, Cool, time to follow up, do whatever combo, right? Now, one thing to note here, if you do it, you can homing dash through it just like Super Saiyan Vegeta's. So these are weak projectiles, so you can reflect on block, you can homing dash on block, all that kind of stuff. It's not a true lockdown assist. But as far as keeping hit stun up, it holds the enemy in place a long time, so if you got big combo setups, it's certainly going to be a very good one. And in general, it's pretty alright neutral. It'd be better if it was more angled like Super Saiyan Vegeta's, but hey, you know, beggars can't be choosers, I guess. And his C assist, the Lariat Express. So, like many other C assists here, he comes, he does the hit, and he does the follow-up, right? The one thing to note here is this one is armored. So right there, Goku went for stand H, hit the armored Broly, and Broly just still smacked him and went into the thing, right? So once again, it's kind of like half the characters in the game have a C assist like this. They do a strike, they do, and they dump him out if it hits, right? But Broly, since it does have armor, protects himself a bit more than the average one, and makes it a little bit more viable and neutral, because you know any stray hit's just not going to bounce them off the board, right? So it's handy in that way. But once again, pound for pound, if I had to erase them, or there you go, I guess I suppose if I had to rate them, Eraser Blow is definitely still the king overall. Keep in mind too, C assists regenerate quite a bit slower than A and B assists, so you can just spam Eraser Blow, just keep screen control, really good for combos, all that kind of stuff. It is absolutely pound for pound the winner in my opinion. So Broly's Delay level 3 super, this guy here, this is one of the cornerstones of the character, and this is absolutely one of the things you should be taking use of if you're playing this character. So in and of itself, here is the basic gist of it. After he does his level 3, he recovers way faster than the stock level 3. And what does this mean? Well, it means he can follow up afterwards. So say we do this right here, and we're going to go for a Dragon Rush. Alright, we got Dragon Rush. And we keep hitting, and you know, we're going to keep going after that. So one of the things about the Delay level 3 is the level 1 super and the regular level 3 do not have the advanced scaling that was introduced in Season 2 of Dragon Ball FighterZ. So they will do the normal amount of damage they always did, and you don't have to worry about just having that damage curtailed for the amount of bar you're spending. So to give you an idea, just a really basic combo here. Alright, so I'm going to do a fairly standard corner combo here, and I'm going to go into the Delay level 3 thanks to help from an assist. So the assist is currently keeping the enemy in hit stun long enough for that Delay level 3 to hit. And then when you know it, get my Dragon Rush, get my follow-up, gonna go for another super. And then you know what, hey, why not, right? I'll go for another super even after that, right? And you can see the amount of damage being done. So Broly by himself is dumping 4 bars, right? A lot of characters usually can't do any meter past the original thing, right? Either they do the level 1 or they do their level 3 and that's it, right? Broly can do a level 3, then a level 1. Or he can do a level 3 and then another level 3. Or he can do a level 3, then another level 3, and then a level 1, which is in the companion combo guide if you want to watch that, right? So having an assist that can help out with that is very important team. Now, it's not critical. It's a lot easier as of Season 3 to do this by yourself now. But any assist that can just bounce the enemy back up just a little bit after you smack them down and then go for your Delay level 3. Now, in Season 3 of Dragon Ball FighterZ, like, basically any vanish, like, you do your air grab, vanish, go right into your Delay level 3, it'll work now, right? As you can see here. So, that's really all well and good, because now you can special cancel the vanish, right? Before you needed very specific height, like it did work before, but you needed very specific heights or a very specific setup. Now, just do air grab, vanish, Delay level 3, it works. You don't even have to think about it anymore, right? Very easy to work with. And just the fact you get all this extra damage after Delay level 3 compared to every other character is a big deal. So this basically makes Broly a lot better at dumping bar than the average character, to be sure. It's a pretty important facet of the character. Now, here is a very important concept to learn for Broly that will absolutely up your screen control, your screen presence, and just make you a bigger threat everywhere on the screen, because it basically turns any part above Broly into a no-fly zone, and that is the Tiger Knee version of his air grab. So normally, hey, the air grab, you gotta do it in the air. You can't do it in the ground, obviously enough, right? So you gotta jump and do it. And you jump and do it, and say you're particularly quick, you can do it pretty low to the ground, right? But here's the thing, pretty low to the ground is not very low to the ground. And you can easily lose your opportunity despite how quick you were on the draw, because of just the frames you're wasting. So why do that? So what we want to do here, and you can see I have my inputs turned on, is this. So since the input for the air grab is already quarter circle back, all we have to do is quarter circle back on the ground, and then just go quarter circle back, and then go into up back. And what's going to happen is this. You will immediately jump, but the quarter circle back is still in the input buffer, so as soon as you hit your appropriate button, hey, it goes right for the air grab, as you can see here. And I'm like a frame off the ground. I am like, my toes are basically still touching the ground, and I'm still doing the air grab. So when it comes to situations where you're trying to catch people above you or charging at you, that kind of stuff, it's super, super key. And a tiger knee air grab will grab someone where just a regular jump and air grab is too late. It's already, you lost your opportunity, right? By the way, just so you know, we call it the tiger knee because Street Fighter 2, Sagat, he has the tiger knee move, and the move ended in up forward. So that's why the technique has the name it is. But yeah, very big deal. And also, it's double layered because, hey, it's already cool enough that we're doing this, you know, very low to the ground as it is. But it is also super jump installing itself. Due to the nature of the motion, you're getting a super jump. And what does that mean? Well, it means that it auto faces. So Broly will turn to face the enemy. So normally if you jump over the enemy, you know, you don't face them until you hit the ground. So like if I go for like heavy, it's just never, ever, ever, ever going to hit, right? But since it's a super jump, you will face the enemy as soon as you cross over them. That means all of a sudden that heavy I went for before with a regular jump, it can actually connect. So there's a lot of gimmicks, tricks where like I'm going to purposely whiff the air grab, call an assist, and then like do that kind of stuff. Better with quicker assist, slower assist, not so much, right? Because the enemy will be incentivized, oh, they whiffed, I'm going to hit buttons, right? Then all of a sudden you can rip into their face with a Yamcha assist or something like that, right? It's very gimmicky, I'm not going to lie, but gimmicky it as it is, it's still very effective, right? So keep in mind, you will always auto-face the enemy if you whiff this, and you can use Broly's, you know, pretty long-range buttons to deal with the enemy on the other side. So, big technique, once again, owns the sky ahead of them. So if they're just doing whatever amount of trickiness they think they're doing, you don't care, blow through them, just grab them. And of course, it's armor, just like every special move, right? So even if they manage to get hit on you, you tank through it, grab them, Bob's your uncle, that's all there is to it, right? Super key technique. If you are not already using this technique, practice, 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 and get it in your repertoire, because it is a very, very, very big deal. Once again here, this quarter circle motion, the same motion you do anyways in the air, and just end in up back, tiny, tiny delay, hit punch, there you go, that's all there is to it. So a couple quick notes here on normals. One first up here, down heavy. So down heavy just might have the best vertical hitbox in the game for a down heavy. But the thing is here, its hitbox up close is exceptionally poor, despite the fact Broly generally has some of the longest ranges on everything. So keep it in mind that you're not going to get that straight hit, and if you're trying to get someone in the corner, you basically got to be touching them, because anything short of that is just not going to work out in your favor. So hey, just so you know. Of course, and hey, down heavy still armored, so hey, still good though. The overhead, the universal 4 medium 6M, if you want to call it that, overhead. Broly's got a bit more range than the average character here. So with the correct spacing, you can actually hit it kind of meaty, making it plus on block, and just some other interesting stuff. So it's not going to come up too often, but just keep in mind that compared to the average character, Broly can hit from a decent amount further away than everyone else. Stand medium and stand heavy also keep in mind. These moves are punishable on block. Now, like a lot of other characters, the frame data, like, they're generally safe, right? A lot of characters stand heavy, stand medium, whatever is safe. These guys are not, so don't end your combos with this without trying to special cancel into something else. You can special cancel into like a Racer Blow, you can go to Vanish, whatever. You can be tricky and gimmicky and try to go for Command Grab or something, but don't just leave the move rock by itself, because these guys will get you beat up. Like, this isn't some distancing thing here. My -11 from this far, every character in the game can easily punish that, right? So just keep in mind when you're going for straight hits, and it's not bad to start with a medium or a heavy, right? These moves are armored, and they have some good forward advancing properties, especially like, say, a held version of Stand Heavy has a lot of range, as you can see here, right? But just keep in mind, solo by themselves without trying to combo into, or sorry, special cancel and anything else, they are punishable, so just watch out. Now, also here, for air normals, in case you time skipped ahead here with the timestamp, keep in mind all air normals, despite having the armor, they absolutely will still lose the down H even on the armor frames. It's hard-coded to be that way, so Broly's not immune to down H's, because otherwise that'd be a little crazy, right? So just keep that in mind. Okay, so now let's talk the Ki Blast, and I'm not going to mince words here. Broly's standard Ki Blast is not, top 5 Ki Blast, not top 3. It's not, it's one of the best. It is just simply put, the best Ki Blast in the game, and nobody else really comes close. Now, there's quite a few factors about this, so hey, let's talk about it. 1, it's quick. He can shoot 6 of them. That's good. He can angle it in the air. He can cover an airspace that most characters can't, which is very strong because, jumping back and just hiding in the corner is a safety measure for a lot of characters, and Broly can rip that safety from them. Hey, you can do it in the air. Good range, good angle, right? You can also control the air angle. Now, it's not as applicable, but when you need it. And, well, here's the big thing. Now, on top of all these other factors, which of course is, very good, it also craps on every other Ki Blast in the game. Any one Ki Blast can destroy, like, a near infinite amount of other Ki Blasts. Like, as you can see here. Like, it's going through multiple of Goku's Ki Blasts and still hitting them on the other end. And keep in mind, you can shoot 6 of these things on the ground, right? So, when it comes to, Ki Blast wars, Broly wins. Kind of end of the story right there, right? And the Ki Blast, being a Ki Blast versus, a full-on projectile, is a lot faster than a beam startup or whatever. So if you're both in a zoning mindset, generally speaking, if Goku wants to go beams, all that kind of stuff, it has a lot more startup than the Ki Blast, and every time he's going to go for it and you go for the Ki Blast, you're going to win out because your stuff's faster. And of course, you get your hits, you can go get a conversion, all that kind of stuff, go from there, that's great. It controls the screen in a way no other move really does, because it's fast, it's good. The projectiles themselves are also big. Like, they're bigger than the standard Ki Blast. They have bigger hitboxes, so it's more likely to hit someone moving around. The fact that you control the air with it, you can also just well, not randomly, but you can control when you do it, right? So, like, one high, one low, one high, one low, whatever you want to do. There's nowhere the enemy is really safe from them, other than if they want to, like, try to super jump over the initial one, then, like, kind of float their way to safety. It is very difficult to deal with. So, once again, in absolutely no uncertain terms, this is the best Ki Blast in the game. Alright, so now we talked about, hey, the Ki Blast is really good. So, what's the application? How do we use it? Well, you use it like a sledgehammer, mostly. The one thing that makes the Ki Blast so good, besides the actual properties of the Ki Blast, is it doesn't require much extra thought or, just, advanced process. Just kind of do it, and it kind of works. So, of course, this Ki Blast, just like every other basic Ki Blast here, it can be homing dash true, right? So, you always have that to work with. But here's the thing. This is kind of what you're fishing for. Instead of going for all 6 every single time, you want to go for stuff like this. Like 1, 1, 1, 2, 1 up here, 1 down there. Just enough to really frustrate people to know that whatever their plan is, they're not going to get off. Like, even just a simple, like, 1, 2 like this. 1 in the air, 1 on the ground. It covers a lot of space, as you can see here. Like, that's a giant portion of the screen covered. And once again, because they're so fast, they're so big, it's hard to get around them. So, you are here to frustrate the enemy to the point where, like, okay, I am finally going to do my homing dash. I'm just sick of this. I don't want to deal with it, right? And then just, kind of bop them, right? Down heavy. If you're doing a lot, you can also cancel into a lariat. Each hit is special cancelable, even if they bounce off due to the homing dash. Another thing here, if you're just overcommitting, right? If you're just going for the whole thing here, and you notice the enemy's going to get you can vanish. Because they're all vanish cancelable. It's the ball is very much in Broly's court, right? Because no matter how you apply it, even if you screw up, once again, you screw up, you overcommit it, and the enemy is going to vanish, or rather homing dash, you vanish through it. But yeah, so much to do. Like, say they are trying to super jump float over, you can do one, then just like, then run forward immediately and go for Tiger Need version of the air grab. That kind of stuff works too. The screen control is absolute for the most part. And don't be afraid as well to toss in an eraser blow every now and then as well, with the basic key blast, as the eraser blow, once again, is armored. So say they are above you and they home and dash, they bounce off the armor. If it hits on the right frame, the eraser blow is also not possible to be blocked after they bounce off the armor. So that's really cool as well, right? But between judicious use of the basic key blast and the armor, man, Broly owns a lot of screen. Keep in mind, too, Broly's a grappler, right? I just want to really home in on this point. Broly's nominally most scary thing is the fact that he can toss around like a ragdoll, and he can armor through everything you got. But in the end, he's the best zoner in the game, thanks to stuff like this, right? As long as you just don't overcommit, it's very easy to make the enemy frustrated into a mistake. And from that point, it's very easy to capitalize on it. So don't forget the rest of the game plan, to be sure. But if you're in an advantageous position, or say you don't want to commit too much, it is easy enough for Broly to slow the game down to a snail's pace, which is something other characters, for the most part, can't do. It is very much a tool in the Broly toolbox that he has that most other characters just simply can't recreate. The ability to slow down the game. Like, if you want to play fast, that's great, but the ability to just go like, nah, we're going to stop for a second here, and we're going to see how you react to my various projectiles, right? That's really cool. So just keep in mind, Key Blast, once again, I really want to harp in on this. Key Blast, best Key Blast in the game. Use it, use it, use it. Now that we briefly talked about Eraser Blow, let's talk about it a little more in depth here. So hey, it's good. It's a big old fireball. That's pretty cool, right? Eats up a lot of the screen. That's really neat. If you skip forward ahead and see the one of the original segments here, basic Key Blast will bounce off him during the startup of it before he actually launches the projectile. Now, it's not frame 1, but still, it happens very early on, so that's really cool. It's armored like everything else, but let's talk about a couple other things here. So property 1. If it hits close, the move itself changes. So if it hits with the basic projectile, whatever, but if it hits up close here, you can see you get this very handy animation. One of the things here, just very quickly, in Season 3 of Dragon Ball FighterZ, plays very nice with C-assists, because you have just, a lot of that time like to visually assess this is happening, right? So you can do it, call your C-assist, get a full combo, you don't got to burn a bar and vanish or whatever. That's really cool. And this property gives you big combos on blocks, like almost every corner combo Broly is going to use an Eraser Blow, and you can follow up afterwards, right? That's a big deal. But on block here, so we got to set the guard all. So if the regular projectile hits, it just bounces off, whatever, right? But on block, we still get a bit of an animation, right? And this animation is very, 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 very key. So if we turn on the old frame data, so if we get this animation, it's always going to be -5 on block. And you might think, well, okay, -5, so it's not my turn anymore. And I'm here to tell you, well, it kind of is sometimes, if not most of the time. Because -5 isn't really a deterrent at this range for Broly. So if I get blocked here and I'm -5, you know what my first instinct is? I'm going to do it again. Because the armor on the Eraser Blow, once again, starts up on the 4th frame of the move. So they have to have a move that hits me in 8 frames, like 8 frame startup. And moves with 8 frame startup don't hit from this far away for the most part, right? So if I just do this and immediately go for another Eraser Blow, and they did like something like a medium to cover the distance, I'm going to armor through it and bop them on the head something fierce, right? So that's really big. So even though I am technically negative, I still basically kind of have the advantage at this distance here. I can kind of bully my way through, and if they want to stick out a button, they're going to get armored through and they're going to get caught and just go from there, right? Now, certain characters, if that's the route you're going for, they can bait it out or deal with it, or just, backdash out, don't have to deal with it, whatever. But it's a big tool in the arsenal. Now, you can apply this to other moves like, say, Stand M. Although, Stand M, keep in mind, armor on your normals does not come in as fast as armor on your specials. So, depending on the character, if they stick out like that random Stand Medium to cover the distance, that point, they might beat you before the armor gets through. Hey, heads up, right? But yeah. This is a situation where even though you are technically negative on block, don't feel like it's not your turn. This is part of Broly being a bully thanks to the armor, right? Now, you can't do this forever, right? If you're pushed out here and the regular projectile hits, you are -6, and things get a little bit more dicey because you're just a little bit closer because you don't have that inherent pushback here, because you're kind of in their face, and it's not as ideal, but generally speaking, after the first one, as long as they stay in the position they were, you're able to get a second one. And of course, if they hit a button or hit something, like say Goku is going to go for stand medium afterwards, right? So I'll do the first one, he'll block, he'll stand medium me. As you can see right there, tough luck, right? If he goes for down medium, most characters here, if they go like stand medium, down medium, they won't have enough time before the actual move connects. It is difficult. Now, it's not impossible, but it is difficult here. And as you can see here, if I stand perfectly still, he misses, right? So this is another thing with a lot of other characters. You can do this, tiny delay, then punish them. You can say hold stand heavy or something like that. There's a lot of opportunities to work with. So once again, I guess to harping on the point, just because you're negative doesn't mean you lost your turn necessarily here. Now, there is one thing Broly hates and fears more than anything else, and that is the rats, the small characters of this game. Broly's moveset is unfortunately tailored very poorly to the small characters. Not the least of which, you know, like, hey, basic key blast, hey, it goes right over their head. Gets worse when they're crouching, too. Something like stand jab, like, hey, this would hit anyone else. Goes clear over Kid Goku's head, and this is the same for other small characters like Kid Buu or Gotenks or whatever, right? Now, Broly, stand light specifically, just so you know, the knee has a hitbox, like right there. So his knee will actually is the thing that's hitting him, not the fist. But yeah, so Broly, he likes to make use of his long-range normals, like stand light especially, because it has some really big range. And against the small characters, be it they're just running in or a million situations, every possible way under the sun that can screw you over, you will get screwed over some way, somehow, because of this. This can also come in the fact like the grabs. Sometimes, depending on if they're crouching, the grab actually might hit them a frame later than it would another character, because it has to reach that much lower to the ground to grab them. And that frame could be the difference between them mashing something out or, you know, just anything, right? These are some of the problems Broly has to deal with. So when you're fighting a smaller character, you really got to start busting out that down light out of the repertoire. Down light has its uses in certain situations, but against the small characters, it's your big reliable tool, right? Because it's the only move you have at the speed of light that can actually interact with them at roughly this range, because lights will just go over their heads and all that kind of stuff, right? So just watch out. Generally speaking, all things being equal, Broly has an unfavorable matchup against a lot of the smaller characters, especially the more and more they want to barrel in, because it's very easy for them to be under Ki Blast. Like, I got to keep backing up. There we go. Only at that point could I finally hit him with a basic Ki Blast, right? So they have a safe zone from like roughly here to here against all of Broly's stuff. There's a bit of a dead zone. So yeah, bust out that down light. Thankfully, a lot of the more prominent issues over the years have been fixed. Like Broly before, back in the day, he basically couldn't down heavy the small characters. If they homing dash in, they would just land at his feet and then punish him. That was really fun to deal with. But yeah, overall, when you're up against the small guys, you're up against the rats, beware, because you will have to play just a bit differently against them, because they're so tiny and Broly's so big, and just stuff don't work the same way it used to anymore. Fun little gimmick here, coming back around to the powered shell. One thing to note about this, so obviously, you know, beats, projectiles, fireballs, beams, all that kind of stuff, that's really all well and good. That's not what we're talking about. We're actually talking about its applications with Dragon Rushes. So the Dragon Rush, you might notice here, besides the fact, you know, you go forward and you hit the enemy, all that kind of fun stuff. When the start of the move happens here, you have the tell, right? The flash. Like, hey, I'm about to do this. This is a bigger tell than just me going forward. Just to give you that much more time to react and understand that it's happening, right? But here's the thing. It certainly is a nice shade of green, isn't it? Kind of the shade of green this guy is. It's going everywhere. And the fact of the matter is, visually, it is so much harder to tell the Dragon Rush is coming when you have the powered shell up. Like, not the least of the matter is, the animation hides that green flash. It's just there's so much visual noise going on, just this move here. Just even the initial startup of the Dragon Rush is harder to tell because there's so much going on screen. It's just a little bit too much information to take in. So with that said, when you have the powered shell up, keep in mind basically your chances of getting a Dragon Rush through and having the enemy not react to it happening are a lot higher than they were before. Even the old jab into the Dragon Rush, which, you know, now that we're getting used to Season 3, is getting easier to deal with. The fact that it just has so much visual noise is a big deal and makes it a lot harder to deal with. So keep in mind, every time you have the shell up, just think about the Dragon Rush and if it's applicable for you, because you might get away with it when you have the shell up, when normally you might not have. Now, one of the downsides of Broly is he doesn't have a quote-unquote fast move. Broly's fastest move is, you know, Stand Light. Stand Light is 7 frames. And the thing is, a lot of characters like, you know, say Goku or like half the cast have a 6-frame move. So even in situations where you'd be otherwise neutral, like, you know, an universal overhead is 0 on block, it won't work out in your favor because I'll lose every single time if I try to hit a light button, right? And say situations where not even the case of that. So say we get vanished on. So, you know, vanish, that's +2 on block, right? So if we deal with it, if they hit a button, we're absolutely going to lose. So these situations, they don't favor Broly, but here's the thing. So stop thinking with the regular buttons and start thinking with your muscles. Because once again, remember, Broly has that super armor, and super armor on all of his special moves start up on frame number 4. So we just went over that situation here where we hit him with universal overhead, and, you know, we're 0, but if we try to hit a button, it just ain't going to work out. That said, what if we did something like this? Oh, hey, we got you, right? The armor on the grab starts up on frame 4, so even though their move comes out quicker than ours, we armor through it and we give them a bop. And of course, this applies to anything with armor, so you can use a Lariat Express as well, that kind of stuff. That works out great. Now, same deal in that Vanish situation. Vanishes generally, unless they hit very high up, are always going to be +2 on block. So we especially can't really challenge with our buttons, right? But here's the thing. Once again, the armor. Now, armor is not going to be a fail-safe, always work, right? So if we go for that command grab, which worked for us in the overhead situation, certain moves, you know, certain just, you know, auto combos of that, the second hit's going to be fast enough to stop us before that grab goes off. That's not really ideal for us, but keep in mind, the old Lariat Express got like 10 million hits of armor. I don't know the exact amount, but it's enough to go through anything, right? So they want to do stuff. Oh, cool. We can Lariat Express. And if you are so inclined to burn the bar, keep in mind the EX version does come out a fair bit quicker. And you can just go from there. So no matter how many hits they get on you, they're going to get smacked. And of course, the deeper they go in, if they just did a regular jab, they might have enough time to get out. But the more they go into it, it just gives less time to react and block and all that kind of stuff. So even though you are in situations where you were dissuaded from hitting buttons, be it after the overhead, be it you got vanished on or whatever, keep in mind, super armor will always save the day, and they'll let you not have to deal with that. Broly basically doesn't have to deal with a lot of stuff if he does not feel like it. Now we're going to talk about command grab stuff here. So the command grab is one of the key features of Broly and why he's so feared, because, hey, it's pretty friggin' good, right? The medium is the easy one to use. Like, you can use any block string. Medium will always work. It doesn't really matter what you do. Medium just has a lot of range to work with, and that's really all there is to say about that. Here's the thing. Medium is a lot slower than light, though. The medium, well, it'll still catch people sleeping. Don't get me wrong, right? The medium is reactable, whereas the light basically is not. So if you go for like whatever block string and then go for that medium, the enemy can't have time to assess and react. Okay, he's doing the command grab, I'll vanish out, or homing dash, or I'll just plain old jump out, whatever, right? So it still has its uses, don't get me wrong, absolutely. Once again, it's armored too, right? So you can like just stop for a hot second, then go for it if they feel safe to jab out or something, and then armor through and grab them. But yeah, that's the thing, is it's slower. The Broly light grab is basically the single best command grab in the game for a variety of reasons, some of which we'll go over right here. Because it is ripping quick, it is not reactable, you can predict it, absolutely, right? Like, if you smell it coming, the enemy can still do something about it, but in a pure assess, see, react, it's basically not a reactable grab. And let's talk about that and block string theory, because unlike the medium grab, if I go for like the light grab, I miss, I miss, right? Well, then that's no good. But here's the thing. You actually can get the light command grab multiple times per string. You can threaten it multiple times per string. Because each of these moves here that Broly's using, it actually has a little bit of momentum to it. So if you cancel right away, yeah, you miss. But say we delay it just a split second. Hey, we hit, as you can see right there. And this applies multiple times per string. So basic block string theory with Broly is like light, light, medium, medium. And if it hits, awesome, whatever, go from there. And if not, these are the block strings we want to work with. And you want to work with heavily delaying aspects of it to cover the light command grab, because we're going to go over that right now. So there's multiple points where you can get that light command grab. So once again, light, light, medium, medium, basic block string. So if we use the momentum to carry us forward in this specific block string, there is 3 different points I can threaten with the command grab. I can get it after the light, light. I can get it after the light, light, medium. And I can get it after the light, light, medium, medium. As you can see right there. So tiny delay for each of them, and at each one of those points, you can threaten the command grab. So at that point, now that it's established, okay, the enemy knows, okay, oh god, oh god, oh god, I'm blocking, but I definitely don't feel safe, because even though I'm blocking, that nasty old command grab is going to be coming up, right? So some people at this point, they're going to pre-mash vanish or homing dash or something, right? And that's when you can open them up easy peasy. So even something as basic as this. So you just go light, light, medium, delay, medium. If they're panicking, because once again, light, light, medium, at this point, you can get your command grab. You get delayed just a little bit, right? But if they're trying to do anything, the delay medium will counter hit them out of it, or if they try to jump, that'll knock them, hit them in their toes while they're trying to jump, whatever. It's literally that basic and that simple. Much the same here. The light, light, you can just delay the stand medium and all points in between, right? Even the regular old light, you can delay the second hit of the auto combo, right? Like, any point you can threaten a command grab, you can just also delay your next button. And that really messes with people's heads, because it's scary, right? Like, a lot of characters when you're blocking, like, maybe, you know, you're obviously not at an advantage, but you can rest assured, at least for the hot second, unless, like, you know, universal overhead into assist or something is coming. Okay, I can breathe for a second, I'm blocking, let's go. For Broly, because he can threaten the light command grab at so many points of his basic combo, or rather his string structure, you're never safe. And just the basic concepts of that alone will get you. Also, his stand heavy. So stand heavy kind of looks a lot like the windup for the grab. As when he moves his arm backwards here, he also moves his arm backwards for the stand heavy. And yeah, the animation is different, but it's enough to trick people. If you think, you know, oh, I can definitely tell in like the couple frames that happens to tell which one's which, well, I'd like to say thank you, Goichi, for watching my videos. But for everyone else, it's just enough visual trickery to mess with people, especially if you hold it, right? I've caught in so many people basic block string, tiny hold, smash them out of their mash vanish or mash homing dash or whatever. Because people just see the rear back, and that's what matters, right? That's the visual message that's being conveyed at the point. So once again, to kind of bring her back to the beginning, if you just want to use medium grab, yeah, it's slower, but you don't even have to think about its application. It'll just always work. The light command grab, you can go light, light, delay, it'll connect. You can go light, light, medium, delay, and it'll connect. And you go light, light, medium, medium, delay, and it'll connect. So at all these points, you can toss out another normal to catch people mashing, or just trying to preemptively get out of the grab. And if they stood still long enough to try to quote-unquote react, well, then it's already too late and they already got grabbed. So command grabs, very big deal for Broly. Learn this kind of structure. It's a big deal. You want to be grabbing fools, and even like a simple light grab into a base level 1 mid-screen, that is still 30%. That's not nothing, right? And that matters more and more as the match goes on, because all these add up. And of course, you know, the light grab also gives sliding knockdown, especially if you get it in the corner. There's all sorts of Oki, which we'll cover in a little bit. And yeah, grab, good. Now we enter the Okazeme part of the guide. So this is otherwise known as pressuring your opponent while they're waking up after you have knocked them down. So Broly's 2 main sources of Oki come from this. You either hit him with the down heavy in the air, and it'll give him a nice fixed knockdown you can work with here. Or you just hit him with the light grab. Light grab always causes a sliding knockdown. Mid-screen, you don't really get anything other than just hey, maybe go for a super. But in the corner for both of these, you start getting a lot of stuff to work with. So first, let's go over the down heavy. Now, once again here, I'm just going to do a quick little combo. Obviously, for either the light grab or the down heavy, you can have a big fancy combo. For the sake of time, we're just going to do a regular tiny little thing here. But yeah, the down heavy is really interesting because the down heavy hit is special cancelable. So if I go here, I can go like right into powered shell. I can go right into Lariat Express, all these things. And we're going to be using that concept to help with our timing. So we're going to turn on our frame advantage here. And let's just show you the first example. So if I go into the down heavy and go into Lariat Express right away, you might notice here it says I have 6 frames of advantage. So what can I do with these 6 frames of advantage? Well, it's pretty simple actually. I can just toss out an old jab. So here's the deal. So say I toss out the regular old jab. So the enemy's going to try just, wake up mash on when they get up, right? Not going to work out so good for them. Because, hey, I had the 6 frames of advantage. On the 7th frame is when they get smacked by this guy here. Because this is a 7-frame startup move, so there's nothing they can do to mash, right? Yeah, they can delay tech, yeah, they can reflect. This is going to be true for like any setup in the history of Dragon Ball FighterZ. Delay tech and reflect are their own thing, and these are things you generally got to smell out, bait out, all that kind of stuff, right? But yeah, so since we can get this jab here, what does that do for us? Well, one, besides the fact now that we know that it beats mashing and all that, say they up tech, right? Up tech generally is a lot safer in this game. It's harder to deal with because they're higher up in the air, all that kind of stuff. But since Broly's so tall, jab still hits him, right? So, and that kind of lies the basic setup of this Oki setup. So, if they are on the ground when you catch them, awesome, right? You can just kind of do whatevs. If they're in the air, thanks to Season 3 making the auto combo just work a little bit better with airborne opponents, we can do something like this. And then fully combo out. And of course, if they block, then, bring them down to the ground. And as we went over earlier in the grab section, you can threaten all sorts of grabs, all that kind of cool stuff. So, long story short, this setup is really basic, but really easy and strong to work with. So no matter if they up tech or if they back tech or whatever, this setup's the same. You just go jab, jab, and medium, and go from there. Now, specifically against the airborne foes, if you do this like fastest possible timing, it's not going to work. What you want to do is jab, delay into the auto combo, and then tiny delay into the medium. And thankfully, this combo timing works exactly the same on the ground. So I'll turn on my inputs here and show you, and hopefully you can kind of get the rhythm from there. So a little bit of timing, you got to practice it a little bit, but it's a big deal and it helps. And this is a timing that'll help everywhere on the screen too. If you're just doing like random, air grabs and trying to catch people, like that timing will work and catch up techs mid-screen as well, right? So it's a pretty important thing just to kind of keep them floating along. Go for that big down heavy and then get your combo out from there. So as basically the long and short of this specific version of the Oki. So just down heavy. You do medium lariat, and this is specifically to eat up time because you want to basically kill empty frames you don't need so you don't have to manually time anything. And then just go light, delay, medium. And it gets them on the air, gets them on the ground. Now, it does have a weakness, specifically, if they jump immediately, and I'm talking like very little timing here, they got to mash. They jump immediately, they'll get out of the range of the stand jab. However, it carries an inherent amount of risk because there's a lot of other options you can do that don't work for, right? And their timing does have to be pretty tight. Like, they can't be sloppy about it, because if you're sloppy about it all, you just got nailed by the jab, and the whole combo happens as we went over. Now, next up, the fun ain't over yet. So same deal here, down heavy, and we're going to cancel into the light Lariat Express, not the medium version. And now, as you can see here, the timing is different. After we do the light, we're plus 27 frames. So what does that give us? Well, it turns out it gives us a very meaty universal overhead. So say we set the enemy here and they're just gonna do a regular old tech here. So back tech here. As you see here, we're plus. Now, I didn't do it as fast as I could have. Here, let's try that again. There we go. So now we're plus 8, which means that directly combos into stand light. As you can see, natural combo, right? And also, if they up tech, as you can see, I catch them in the air just the same, right? And this setup you cannot jump out of, unlike the previous one. The only ways out of this setup are you accept it and block, and then Broly's still plus in your face because it hits so meaty, or, you know, reflect or delay, wake up, all that kind of stuff, right? So this option is another one on the table. Now, keep in mind, starting a combo with a universal overhead scales the rest of the combo way more than usual. But still, it's a hit. It's got very little weaknesses to work with, so hey, this is another one to work with. Next permutation of this is do the barrier right away. Now, this one you got to have a little bit of manual timing, unfortunately. The other two are frame kills. You just literally do it as fast as possible. It works. You don't even have to think about it, right? But this one is more simple in essence. You do barrier, tiny delay after the barrier, and then just hit down heavy. So you don't got to worry about the usual hang-ups of down heavy having you know, really bad range, because you're literally right on top of them, so it can't miss. And at that point here, tiny delay, down heavy, catches everything. So no back tech, no up tech, no jump, no vanish. There's nothing they can do. And by the way, the other setups as well, you can't vanish out of it, just so you know. It's pretty safe. Another very big part of this setup here is it forces a little bit of a guessing game on block. So if they block, you can do tiny delay going right into command grab, or tiny delay and go right into eraser blow. And basically is this. You know, if they're passive, you grab them, because the block down heavy brings them right to the ground. And if they try to hit buttons or vanish or whatever, then the eraser blow gets them. So it actually is a pretty favorable situation for Broly, even if it gets blocked on top of covering everything. So the only thing you got to work in is just the delay timing, because once again, it's not a frame kill setup. You can't do it as fast as possible. If you do it as fast as possible, then it'll just simply go through the enemy, and it's not going to benefit you at all, as you can see right there. So tiny delay timing, and basically beats everything on hit. You know, no mashing, no vanishes, no whatever. It's also reflect resistant, because on a reflect, you can then just special cancel into Eraser Blow or Lariat Express and just be right back in their face. And on block, then you can get a little tricky with a little bit of a mix-up. So those are some examples going off the aerial down heavy. And once again here, you can just mess around with this stuff yourself. So if you go do whatever move here, you can just look at the frame data and then try to come up with your own setups. But now let's talk about the light grab, because light grab is a very big it's a big thing for Broly, because you're generally going to be ending any combo with a delay level 3 with a light grab. You'll do delay level 3, you'll do your Dragon Rush, and then you go for your light grab, right? So you will end a lot of combos with light grab, so hey, let's learn some of the Oki for it. So the first setup we have here is just go for light grab and immediately go for your barrier. And it gives the exact same Oki as we talked about earlier for down heavy into medium lariat. So just jab, jab into medium, down heavy, all that kind of stuff if it hits, and you know, gimmicks and gigas and all that on block, right? So it has all the same strengths, has all the same weaknesses, so it is a little bit weak to people immediately jumping up. But you know, you have the option, right? It's a strong option, and you still have it if you just go into barrier right after your light grab and then just go for jab, because you're still +6 no matter what you do, as you can see right here. Well, okay, I was a frame off because whatever. You know what? I'm not even going to edit it out. That's just how it is. But trust me, you are +6 afterwards. There we go. Now we did it right. Okay. But here's another option you got, and it's an easy option, and you don't got to think about it too hard. And these are honestly some of the best options. So after your light grab, just jump straight up. That's all you need to do. And at the peak of your jump, forward dash, and just slam on that old heavy button. And what does this get you? Well, it turns out it gets you a lot. So obviously, as you saw right there, you know, it hits the standing opponent just fine. What about that nasty old up tech? Well, swats it out of the air. And no double jumps or nothing to save you there. That ain't gonna work. So it gets up tech, it gets back tech. You can't vanish out of it. You can't do anything else. It being just a regular hit, it's pretty reflect resistant, because then you can follow up with whatever you want afterwards. Now, it doesn't beat Wake Up down heavy. So if they down heavy right away, it doesn't beat it, but it does safe jump it. So you can just hold back after you're doing it, and if they are mashing down heavy on their Wake Up, then you can still feel rest assured, okay, you don't got to deal with getting cranked right off the bat, right? Some Oki setups for some characters, it hits on a specific frame to beat the down heavy right away. Broly, okay, it doesn't, but whatever, you still have time to block. And of course, obviously, it's a safe jump for level 3 supers and all that kind of stuff as well, just so you know. Now, as for Oki off his basic level 3, pretty simple. All I gotta do, just hold up forward, no specific timing, and then slam that heavy button. It's pretty basic. So it's a safe jump. If they try to, invincible reversal, Wake Up level 3, whatever, you get plenty of time to block. If they block, then they block whatever, you're still in your face or Broly. You got a million options to work with. They get hit, cool, combo time, work from there, all that kind of cool stuff. And if you want to get really gimmicky with it, you can jump in with a light, which will whiff, and then immediately just go for a command grab or something. The level 3 Oki, pretty basic, but it's safe. It's guaranteed, basically. So hey, might as well work with it. Also, just as a base note here, if you got assist to burn, and people might be prone to upteching, because once again, upteching is generally the safest way to Wake Up. Everyone's only one instant air grab away from getting chucked, right? Especially on their Wake Up. So if you just go like this and call the assist or something to cover the bottom portion, it works out just fine. Of course, you also get to land on their head, so it just works out, right? So there's a million ways you can do it. I'm just showing you layer 1, basically, of all the pressure options he has on knockdown. There's so much to go with, and considering how varied his moveset is, feel free to try to invent your own, because, that's how a lot of this stuff gets figured out, right? Just take a look at the numbers, and the rest will guide you there. Now, let's talk team position. So, Broly has evolved over time. Originally, when he first came out, and he had a lot of issues to work with, I was very adamant, Broly, point character, or go home. Don't even bother if he's not your point character, right? Now, Broly has changed a lot since then. He's gotten buffs, and certain things, especially a lot of Season 3 universal mechanics, have helped him out, and now I'm a lot more lenient on that position. I still think Broly is best served as a point overall, mostly because the boy loves assists. And I know everybody loves assists, but Broly extra loves assists. Especially considering, kind of how anemic his basic mid-screen combo structure is, right? He really, really, really wants to get into the corner. But now, hey, I think he can basically work in any position. Limit break makes the odd grab a lot more scary as an anchor. Mid-screen, or rather as the mid on your team, hey, as we went over, Broly's got good assists. The basic eraser blow assist, in my opinion, is one of the better assists in the game. Maybe not the best, but one of the better assists in the game. It's very versatile for what it is, right? When it comes into combo ability, screen control, neutral, all that kind of stuff. So Broly, in my opinion, honestly, just pick what you want. I think he's still overall best served as the point character, but as a mid, as an anchor, I cannot fault it anymore. Back in the day, sure, I would argue against it, but now, truly, honestly, go with what your heart says. If you got a team that could benefit from the eraser blow assist, or machine gun shot, or a C assist if you want to use it, whatever, right? Hey, put him up mid. If you just want a strong character with strong neutral and a way to open people up without assist, hey, he works as an anchor just fine, right? Maybe mid-screen you won't get the big combo or whatever, but you'll have more tools to crack someone open than an average character, so that's part of what being an anchor is about. And of course, when you get that corner and that limit break damage is really going to up it big time, right? So just go with what you think works for you. Honestly, point, mid, anchor, Broly works all three just fine. Now, as for a generalized game plan for Broly, well, here's the thing. Broly is one of the most versatile and dynamic characters in this game, period. I know he gets, a lot of flack for being the Unga Bunga gorilla character and all that kind of stuff, but yeah, however you want to play him, there's honestly very few ways you can go wrong. Broly is the best grappler in the game. Broly is the best zoner in the game, right? Broly has probably, you know, if debatably anyways, best neutral in the game. If not top 1, then at the very least top 3, right? Broly owns a lot of the screen all the time, forever. And that's kind of the best thing. The best thing to do with Broly, the general game plan you should be going for, is be a bully. Now, being a bully is multifaceted. You can bully from full screen, right? The basic key blast is very difficult to contest with. And as we went over in that section, there's a lot of stuff you can do with it. His buttons are bigger than most other people. Now, when it came out, he definitely had some of the biggest buttons, but there's been other characters to kind of challenge him on that. You know, like, hey, like, Lord Cooler has big buttons as well, right? But yeah, generally speaking, if you're both on the ground, Broly kind of has an advantage over the average character. The whole area above him is a no-fly zone because of TK grabs. Speaking of, you know, no-fly zone, he's one of the very few characters that can stop people from just hanging up in the corner on the other side of the screen, which is a very big deal. You know, almost nobody else has the ability to deal with that, right? Only a select few other characters, and that's, you really got to keep that in mind. Of course, as we went over and covered a lot of time with, you know, hey, grabs, kind of a big deal, right? Whatever you're looking for, Broly, for the most part, can offer it to you. So there is no one set fixed game plan. The best thing I can offer you is be fluid. Don't always fixate on grabs. Don't always fixate on trying to zone people out, right? The second you become too rigid and they're kind of always going for the same thing, that's generally the moment the enemy's going to get the read on you, and then, you know, then they're going to bop you pretty bad, right? But yeah, his biggest strength is his versatility. Like, when you just look at this character, you know, the one thing, and traditionally in fighting games, when you see a character like this versus a normal character, it's going to be slow, 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 and command grabs, right? But Broly, unlike other grapplers in other fighting games, does not have his mobility inhibited. Like, as of the time of me recording this, the Guilty Gear Strive beta wrapped up not too long ago, and Potemkin's the big character in that game, and Potemkin, yeah, he's got the big moves. Potemkin even has some full screen stuff with slide head, and some other similar traits of Broly, but yo, he's slow as all get out, right? He cannot run. He can only walk forward. He cannot air dash. He can only just jump forward. That's it, right? So Broly, with all the tools he has normally in any other given fighting game, would have to give something. Like, yeah, he's got some weaknesses, like, you know, against the smalls and all that, but he's as mobile as anybody else is, on top of all of his overwhelming tools. Like, don't get me wrong, Broly is one of the best characters in this game, straight up. And, you know, hey, thank God for it, right? Because I remember Broly at launch versus now, versus the myriad of issues and bugs and all that. He's definitely so much more of a complete character now than he was back then. But yeah, so general game plan is go with your heart, because rest assured, wherever you are on the screen, you can make stuff work for you. The only real thing I can knock is, especially at the beginning phases of a battle where, like, assists are flying like crazy, Broly is a lot taller, and thus that hitbox matches his height, right? So he's a lot easier to get hit by a stray assist or something, so watch out for that. Broly is, simply put, one of the most dynamic characters in this game, and whatever you want to assign to him, you, for the most part, can do. He doesn't have a rigid game plan, he doesn't have a set game plan. Just go with your heart. And in closing, hey, there you go. Broly has definitely been one of the characters I put most time into in the history of Dragon Ball FighterZ, and I hope this guide reflects that, and I hope I covered a lot of topics. I'm sure after I publish this, I'm going to be kicking myself, because I'm sure there's a million more things I could have put in here that I didn't. And for that, hey, I'm sorry. But you can always hit me up on Twitter or something and just pick my brain, and I'll probably remember a lot of the stuff I forgot to put in this video. But yeah, so Broly, legitimately, because I feel a lot for this character, right? I think he's one of the most fun characters in the history of fighting games. The fact that he has so many options is a big part of it. And the fact that you can just, you know, for lack of a nicer term, you can just play like an asshole and get away with it. And that's usually pretty fun. That's pretty cool, usually. And normally the characters that do that are like, you know, your small, speedy, low health characters full of mix-ups and gimmicks. Never really the big characters. So the fact that a big character can do all this stuff, man, it's very refreshing as someone who's been playing fighting games since Street Fighter 2 came out in the arcades in 1991. Anyways, I guess I'm just going to ramble at this point. Broly cool. And you know what? Broly's power, to this date, still is maximum. Anyways, my friends, thank you very much for watching. Hope this video found you well. Go out and play some Dragon Ball.